Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Wrath, welcome to the stream.
Oh
How does
yeah,
it
hey.
feel to be making the finals of the Risen League?
Well, it feels really good. Especially after going down 2 games. And as you could clearly tell, I kind of did the same build more or less every single time with some slight adjustments. And I'm just happy it worked because I was going to change it up, but I don't know. I felt like his early game was just so strong. I was afraid of pulling cheese, so I'm like, I think my best bet is to survive until the late game, and then maybe I have a shot. But it feels great. It feels really really good. I'm relieved, but man, Megabear's good. He's a really good ZVT player.
Um, One thing we went over is for both of you, TVZ, ZVT is your strongest matchup by far. How long did you practice this build before engaging in the series?
Oh, I mean, I've known this particular build for a long time. It really hasn't changed since Wings of Liberty all that much. And I know that's kind of embarrassing. I mean, there's been some slight tweaks, of course, but it's been more or less my go-to since way back then. And of course, I took some hiatuses and didn't play, but it the primary build hasn't really changed. The opening with the reactor and the Hellions, and then the safe expand up top, that really hasn't changed.
Um, what would you say is the core of what makes your build so strong and so able to hold such a variety of assaults? We saw Swarm Hosts, we saw Roach Ravager, we saw Langolins, we saw Mutas. I noticed that you got missile turrets every single game, no matter what. What would you say to lower level players out there who want to emulate your style?
Well, you got to have a sense of the game, because there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of time periods where the game could just quickly get out of hand. Like you saw, what was it, game one? I think he ling flooded me with banelings, and I was not prepared properly. And even if you are, the micro has to be spot on. So I would say the number one thing would be learn all the Zerg timings. You have to know when a Nidus Worm shows up typically. You have to know when the Mutalisks generally pop out. If you haven't scouted, which I didn't do a very good job of with Banshee every game, you kind of have to go into it blindly, because ultimately, once you get to the late game, that composition is so good against Zerg, in my experience, that it's like a catch-all. Early on, it's very important. Like if they don't do Mutalisks or anything cute, like an all-in attack, and they go like Hydra, Baneling, Zergling, then you need to know that. Like you have to make more siege tanks, for example. If they go Mutalisks, well, you have to, of course, have Thors. But if you don't make enough siege tanks, if they go like Mass Roach, Viper, Hydra, you have to have an excessive amount of siege tanks. You kind of have to open yourself up a little bit to Mutalisks until later in the game. So that's what I would say. First, learn your timings for all the various instant GGs that Zerg can dish out, and there's a lot of them. And then after that, know how to transition and what units to make depending on your opponent's army composition.
That sounds like some excellent advice. That's definitely a very strong build versus Zerg. I the amount of aggression that it held is incredible. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's after you do it so and so many times, even when you're not as good. Like I'm not really that good of a player, but after you do it for so and so many times, you kind of get used to it, right? And that really helps a long way. It's like repetition, right? Everything is about doing it again and again and again, and then getting good at it. Now, as you can clearly see, I'm mainly a mech player, and I haven't quite figured that out in TVP yet. Although it's getting better, but I haven't really ever really had that perfect play style that transitioned from game to game. Like when Wings of Liberty came out, this style more or less hasn't changed all that much in TVZ. However, back in Wings of Liberty, I actually had a really good mech play against Protoss that was very successful. But the game's changed so much I haven't had spent nearly the amount of time that I have in ZVT perfecting my mech game in ZVT like I have in TVP. That's why my win percentages in TVP is not nearly as high.
For sure. How do you feel going into these finals?
Well, I'm glad it's another ZVT. That I think gives me my best chance. That's good. What concerns me is how well Cuchulio has played against pretty much anybody. I think the only person that was able to challenge him at all was Eternal, and Eternal overall in most aspects of the game is far better and stronger and more well-rounded than I am. I mean, he goes bio in pretty much every matchup, and as you know, bio is just incredibly good in TVP, and it's also viable in TVZ as well as the mirror matchup. So that's what I'm a little worried about. I know how good Eternal is, and Eternal was not able to best Cuchulio, so if he can't do it, then I'm hoping I have better luck than he did with Mech, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I guess we will. Well, congratulations on your win. Best of luck in the finals. And thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for casting on such short notice. Sometimes that happens, so I really appreciate your flexibility and you stepping up to the plate and helping out getting the cast in there. So thanks so much. I was glad I was able to do it. Megabear, you're one hell of a player, man. When I went down 2-0, I thought this was going to be a short series. So good job, man. Good games. Well played.
GG, well played. Thanks, Rath.
No problem. Thanks, Renegade.
All right, bye. Thank you again to both the players, Rathorne and Megabearcub. Thanks to Eternal for hosting the Risen StarLeague, getting everything up on Wikipedia, making sure the matches go down as on time as they can be, and make sure you check out the VODs if you want to see how these players got to the positions they're at. You can check it out, the VODs, on twitch.tv/gravity620 and Caboose SC2. And we will be seeing Megabearcub again in the third place match, as well as Cucciolo versus Rathorne in the finals of the Risen StarLeague. Thank you very much for watching. Drop a follow if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in future streams. Thanks.